If you've been scrolling through endless specs, watching side-by-side video comparisons, and still feel a little lost about which gaming laptop actually deserves a spot on your desk, this review is for you. I've spent the past week juggling a few different 15 and 16-inch machines, and I'm finally ready to tell you whether the ASUS ROG Strix G16 is the sweet spot or just another flashy name. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's frame the problem. The gaming laptop market today is a minefield of higher refresh rate and RT-something claims, and the price tags can swing wildly. You want something that can run the latest titles at 1080p with decent frame rates, but you also need it to survive weekend study sessions, video calls, and the occasional Netflix binge without turning your lap into a sauna. The biggest risk is buying a machine that looks powerful on paper but forces you to throttle down in real life because it can't keep its cool, or because the battery just dies the moment you crack open a demanding game. That's where the Strix G16 lands. It's built around Intel's Core i7-14650HX, which is essentially the same silicon you'd find in a desktop-grade workstation, just tucked into a slimmer chassis. In practice, that translates to raw horsepower that feels very immediate the first time you launch a title like Elden Ring or Valorant. I tested the laptop with a mix of modern AAA releases and a few older indie games, and the difference between good and great was most noticeable in fast-paced shooters. In Valorant, for instance, the frame rate settled solidly in the 140-160 range on a 1080p setting with everything turned on. That's enough headroom to stay smooth even when the action spikes, and the 165Hz display actually shows it, unlike a 60Hz screen that would make those extra frames feel wasted. Heat management is where ASUS tries to set this model apart. The company touts Conductonaut extreme thermal technology, and the claim isn't just marketing jargon. During the longest play session I ran a 3-hour Red Dead Redemption 2 marathon. The laptop's internal temperature hovered around the low 80°C under load, and the fans never ramped up to deafening levels. The cooler doesn't completely eliminate heat, but it does keep the laptop from throttling aggressively. If you've ever felt the need to prop your laptop up on a stand just to stay under 90°C, you'll appreciate that this model stays mostly flat on your desk while still staying cool enough to keep performance consistent. Now, let's talk about the actual viewing experience. The 16-inch ROG Nebula panel is a 1080p screen, but the high refresh rate is the headline. The colors are vivid enough for gaming, and the 165Hz refresh means movements appear buttery smooth in first-person shooters and racing games. The trade-off is that you won't get a true 4K pixel density, which is worth mentioning if you plan to use the laptop for content creation or photo editing where pixel-perfect detail matters. For most gamers, though, the smoother motion outweighs the slightly softer image. If you're a streamer who needs a reliable webcam-level view of your own gameplay, the screen's responsiveness actually makes your on-screen tutorials feel more professional, because the motion lag is nearly non-existent. Storage and memory are another practical concern. This machine ships with 16 GB of DDR5 RAM and a 1 TB PCIe SSD. In my daily workflow, swapping between a game, a browser full of tabs, and a couple of office documents was seamless. Load times for games were near instant. Cyberpunk 2077 jumped from the boot screen to the main menu in under 10 seconds, which is about as fast as you'll see on a laptop in this price range. The SSD space is generous enough that you can keep several large titles installed without worrying about constantly pruning your library. However, the DDR5 speed isn't something you'll feel in a measurable way unless you're running extreme multitasking workloads. For pure gaming, 16 GB is plenty, and you won't notice any bottleneck. The design includes a 360-degree RGB Lightbar that runs along the rear edge of the chassis. It's not just for aesthetics. The light can be set to pulse with system performance, providing a visual cue when the GPU is under load. If you love the gamer cave vibe, that's a nice touch. If you're more of a minimalist, you can dial it down or turn it off entirely via the Armoury Crate software, which also gives you control over fan curves and performance presets. The software itself is a mixed bag. While it offers granular control, some users report occasional lag when toggling profiles, but it didn't affect my gaming sessions. Who should buy this laptop? If you're a serious gamer who wants to stay competitive in fast-paced titles without breaking the bank, the Strix G16 is a strong candidate. It's also a good fit for students or professionals who need a machine capable of handling both work and play. Think 3D modeling, video editing, or running virtual machines thanks to its high-end CPU and fast SSD. The laptop's battery life, however,